आत्महनं महान्
यद्यपि आत्मानं महान्।
सूत उवाच
सूत उवाच
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मं
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
यद्यपि आत्महनं महान्
यद्यपि आत्मानं महान्।
सूत उवाच
सूत उवाच
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मं
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
यद्यपि आत्महनं महान्
यद्यपि आत्मानं महान्। सूत उवाच
सूत उवाच
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मं
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
यद्यपि आत्मानं महान्
यद्यपि आत्महनं महान्
सूत उवाच
सूत उवाच
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
यद्यपि आत्महनं महान्
यद्यपि आत्महनं महान्
सूत उवाच
सूत उवाच
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
यद्यपि आत्महं
यद्यपि आत्महनं महान्
सूतोवाच
सूत उवाच
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
पार्थः कृष्णेन चोदितः
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
यद्यपि आत्माहनं महान्
यद्यपि आत्महनं महान्
सूत उवाच
सूत उवाच
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मं
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
यद्यप्यात्माहनं महान्
यद्यपि आत्महनं महान्
सुवाच
सूत उवाच
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
पार्थः कृष्णेन चोदितः
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
यद्यपि आत्महनं महान्
यद्यपि आत्महनं महान्
सूत उवाच
सूत उवाच
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
यद्यपि आत्माहनं महान्
यद्यपि आत्महनं महान्
सूत उवाच
सूत उवाच
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
यद्यपि आत्महनं महान्
यद्यपि आत्महनं महान् सूत उवाच एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
चोदितः
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
यद्यपि आत्माहनं महान्
यद्यपि आत्महनं महान्
सूत उवाच
सूत उवाच
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मम्
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
पार्थ कृष्णेन चोदितः
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
यद्यप्यात्माहनं महान्
यद्यपि आत्महनं महान्
सूच उवाच
Suta Uvacha
एवं परीक्षिता धर्मं
Evam Parikshita Dharmam
पार्थः कृष्णेन चोदितः
Partha Krishnena Choditaha
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
Naichadhantum Gurusutam
यद्यप्य आत्मनहनं महान्
Yadyapi Atmahanam Mahan
सूत उवाच
Suta Uvacha
एवं परीक्षता धर्मं
Evam Parikshita Dharmam
पार्था कृष्णेन चोदितः
Partha Krishnena Choditaha
नैच्छद्धन्तुं गुरुसुतं
Naichadhantum Gurusutam
यद्यापि आत्महनं महान्
Yadyapi Atmahanam Mahan. Online. Suta Uvacha Evam Parikshita Dharmam Partha Krishnena Choditaha Naichhadantum Kurusutam Yadyapi Atmahanam Mahan. Suta Uvacha Evam Parikshita Dharmam Partha Krishnena Choditaha Naichadhantum Gurusutam Yadyapi Atmahanam Mahan. Anybody else online? Suta Uvacha Evam Parikshita Dharmam Partha Krishnena Choditaha Naichadhantum Gurusutam Yadyapi Atmahanam Mahan. Synonyms. Suta Uvacha Evam Parikshita Dharmam Naichadhantum Gurusutam Yadyapi Atmahanam Mahan. Synonyms. Sutaha Suta Goswami Uvacha said Evam this Parikshata being examined Dharmam in the matter of duty Parthaha Sri Arjuna Krishnena by Lord Krishna Choditaha being encouraged Na Aichat did not like Hantum to kill Guru Sutam the son of his teacher Yadyapi although Atmahanam murderer of sons Mahan very great. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Suta Goswami said, although Krishna, who was examining Arjuna in religion, encouraged Arjuna to kill the son of Dronacharya, Arjuna, a great soul, did not like the idea of killing him, although Ashwatthama was a heinous murderer of Arjuna's family members. Translation with repetition. Suta Goswami said, although Krishna, who was examining Arjuna in religion, encouraged Arjuna to kill the son of Dronacharya, Arjuna, a great soul, did not like the idea of killing him. Although Ashwatthama was a heinous murderer of Arjuna's family members. Purport. Arjuna was a great soul undoubtedly, which is proved here also. He is encouraged herein personally by the Lord to kill the son of Drona. But Arjuna considers that the son of his great teacher should be spared, for he happens to be the son of Dronacharya, even though he is an unworthy son, having done all sorts of heinous acts whimsically for no one's benefit. Lord Sri Krishna encouraged Arjuna outwardly just to test Arjuna's sense of duty. It is not that Arjuna was incomplete in the sense of his duty, nor was Lord Krishna unaware of Arjuna's sense of duty, but Lord Sri Krishna put to test many of his pure devotees just to magnify the sense of duty. The gopis were put to such tests as well. Prahalad Maharaj was also put to such a test. All pure devotees come out successful in the respective tests by the Lord. Thus ends the wonderful transcendental purport. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namavom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So it's a wonderful verse that is talking about the test that the devotees have been put to. Let us look once again at the verse. Suta Uvacha. Suta Goswami is speaking this verse. Until the previous verse, Lord Krishna was speaking, and he was encouraging and providing various justifications, reasons why Ashwathama, the son of Dronacharya, deserves to be killed for the heinous crimes that he has committed by killing the sleeping, unarmed, defenseless children of Draupadi. And now, having spoken and having given sufficient reasons to Arjuna to kill Ashwathama, now Suta Goswami is taking over. He is, as a narrator, he is speaking something, and then we will see what happens next afterwards in subsequent verses. But in this verse, Suta Goswami is speaking. Evam parikshata dharmam partha krishnena choditaha naicha dhantum gurusutam yadyapi atmahanam mahan. So Guru Sutam has been mentioned before also. Guru Sutam is a son. Guru Sutam, because Dronacharya was the guru of the Pandavas. So as far as Arjuna is concerned, he does not see Ashwathama as merely the killer of his sons, of his defenseless sleeping children, and therefore a gross murderer, a mass murderer, a tyrant. He does not see him just like that. He also sees him as the son of Dronacharya, the son of his guru, son of his teacher, Acharya. So that is the significance of Guru Sutam, because Arjuna is seeing him as a, and that is why it is mentioned here in this verse. And so what is the test that Krishna is putting Arjuna to? Evam parikshata dharmam. Parikshata, that is testing. Parikshata, having tested. Dharmam, in the matter of his duty. So Arjuna has duties. He has a duty to administer justice in the matter of the assailants of his family members, because after all, Arjuna is a family man, he is a grahastha, and his wife and children are under his protection. He is supposed to protect them. And if somebody is attacking his family members who are defenseless and innocent and just not even at war, they are in their camp at night time, somebody is doing this, then that person has to be stopped, because who knows tomorrow whose other children and wife he will kill. So because of this aggression must be stopped. If somebody is violating the rule in such a gross way in front of everybody, when the whole armies of Pandavas and Kauravas are there, Lord Krishna is personally present. In such a dharma kshetra, in the place of pilgrimage, somebody is such a gross violator of laws, certainly that person needs to be punished. And as a Kshatriya, it is a duty of Arjuna to punish such a person. But there are also other duties. And the sum total of all these duties must be considered when a person must act, before a person decides to act. So as Krishna is testing, has Arjuna understood, does he know all these duties or not? So that is the parikshita or the testing that Arjuna is doing. But what is Arjuna's position? Na ichchad hantum guru sutam. Na ichchad. He does not like. So although Krishna has personally spoken to him and he has practically ordered him to kill Ashwatthama, but Ashwatthama does not like this. He doesn't take that suggestion. Yadyapi atma hanam mahan. So what does he do? Although Ashwatthama is a heinous murderer of Arjuna's family members, he doesn't like it. So what does he actually do? That is there in the next verse. But as far as today's verse is concerned, Suta Goswami is simply saying that he didn't like this suggestion. And we will see what is Srila Prabhupada's purport on this, how to understand this, because Lord Krishna is personally giving an order, direct order, and Arjuna is not taking it. So is this really a symptom of a pure devotee? To not take the order of the Lord? Under what circumstances we should take the order, when we should not take the order? Why is this kind of a response being given? Let us see in the purport. Purport we already read. So let's just go back. Arjuna was a great soul, which is proved here also. Where else is it proved? In the first chapter, where all the opponents, the Kauravas and Pandavas are arranged in the battlefield, and Arjuna is looking at them. He asks Krishna to take the chariot between the two armies, and then he sees who is on the battlefield. And in spite of the fact that the Kauravas have tried to kill the members of Pandavas dynasty, the Pandava brothers, so many times. They tried to burn the house of lakhs. They tried to poison Bhima with the cake, poisoned cake. And then in so many other ways they tried to hurt them. But in spite of all of that, and of course Draupadi herself was attempted to be disrobed in the assembly of Dhritarashtra. But still, when Arjuna saw that these are the members, his own family members, and particularly his Acharya, Dronacharya was personally present, Bhishma was present, he did not want to kill them. And he said, it's better to go begging and break my Kshatriya principles than to kill these such exalted persons. Because by killing these elderly persons, the entire social fabric is destroyed. And he gave several reasons for that. When elders in the family, particularly if you see the battlefield, it was not that only youngsters were present there. In the 1960s, when there was a mandatory drafting of soldiers by the American government for the Vietnam War, anybody who was above the age of 18, I'm not exactly sure what the age cutoff was, but very young person, everybody was enlisted forcibly. 8, above the age of 8. You must have studied some recent history books recently. So they were all mandatorily drafted, and there was criteria applied. But above the certain age or cutoff age, they would not draft. They were exempted. Do you know, Aryan, what was the upper cutoff age? No. So there was upper cutoff age. I'm sure the age of 8 must have jolted you that, okay, if that had happened now, I must go to the war. That's why you're remembering that. But in the former times, it was not like that. There was no cutoff age for war. Even a 80-year-old person, 100-year-old person could fight the war. At the time of Mahabharata, Krishna himself had grandchildren. Although he was youthful in his looks, appearance, and he never aged in appearance beyond the age of 16. Navayauvanamcha. But he had grandchildren at the time. So the persons in the battlefield, they were all elderly, middle-aged and elderly. And regardless, not just Bhishma and Drona, but everybody else who was in the battlefield, when all those elders in the family were killed, what will happen? There will be nobody at home to instill values to the next generation. Because it is always the elders. Elders means one generation beyond the parents, immediate parents. If you have, in a family, if you have got small children, the parents are always busy in making endeavors for economic progress, for taking up a job, or making other provisions, cooking, cleaning, washing, or doing some work for. So they are never around actually to impart much values. And the values come from the next generation above, the grandparents. So when the grandparents are no longer there, then very rapidly all the social projects, because there's nobody to give good counsel. And in absence of that, the entire social fabric crumbles, because there is no socially useful projects that are taken up. Instead, the projects that are taken up are all useless, socially antisocial projects. And particularly if the parents also, if the father goes away, if he dies in the battle, then it becomes even worse. There is then nobody at all to protect the family. And so all these factors were known to Arjuna. Just as he saw them, instantly he knew all these things. He already had all these principles of religion in his mind, and therefore he placed his own Kshatriya principles subordinate to these bigger principles of the society, and he was willing to sacrifice. So that magnanimity and the greatness of Arjuna is once again being demonstrated here. That is what the first line is saying, that he is, although there is a offender, personal offender of his own children, is standing there. It's not just an attempted murder. In the case of Mahabharata war, what was happening? It was attempted murder. Actually, they did not die, right? When they poisoned with the poison cake, what happened to Bhima? Nothing happened. He went unconscious, but really nothing happened to him, right? He regained consciousness and is all fine. When the house of Lax was burnt, what happened? They escaped, right? They were informed by Vidura, and they were escaped. Actually, nobody died. But what happened when they attempted to disrobe Draupadi? It was a great insult to take the daughter-in-law of the family and try to insult her, drag her by the hair. It was a great physical insult and assault. But actually, she was protected by the Lord. Actual disrobing did not happen. And yet, they were assembled in the battlefield and they were ready to go to battle, and millions of soldiers were killed on both sides. That was the result of somebody not even being killed. And here, 5 sleeping sons were actually killed. They were beheaded. So imagine what a great offense that would be, and how certain it was to have, kill the aggressor, Ashwatthama in this case. And yet, Arjuna is saying, no, I don't want to kill. So that is the greatness of Arjuna here. And he is being personally encouraged to kill the Lord, by the Lord, to kill the son of Drona. But Arjuna considers that the son of his great teacher should be spared, for he happens to be the son of Dronacharya, even though he is unworthy son. So another consideration at this point, Dronacharya has actually passed away. He was killed in the battle. And this is happening after the war is over, and Duryodhana is lying wounded. So Dronacharya has already passed away. So what is the harm, after all, in killing the son of Dronacharya who's passed away? The factor is, at this point, the wife of Dronacharya is still alive. So Guru Mata, that is one of the 6 mothers. Who are the other mothers? According to the religious principles, there are 6 mothers for every person. Does anybody remember? Yes, Madhav. Nurse. Cow. Bhumi Devi. Guru Mata. Wife, spiritual master's wife. Actual mother. There's biological mother, you should say. These are all actual mothers. Who is the 6th person? Anybody? Yes, king's wife or the queen. So the king's wife or the queen, and all these 6 individuals that you talked about, they are all to be considered as mother, and they should be treated as mothers. So Guru's wife or Guru Mata is to be considered as a mother, and if the husband passes away, it is the responsibility of this, and if that woman does not have any brothers, or in any case, especially if it is a Guru's wife, she doesn't have any brothers, husband has passed away, it is the responsibility of the disciple to take care of Guru's wife. That is how the responsibility falls. So Arjuna was considering Dronacharya's wife, his Guru Mata, as his own mother. And he said that he was considering that Guru Mata must be taken care of, it's his responsibility. And so she had her son, Ashwatthama, And if he killed Ashwatthama, then how would that Guru's wife be happy? It is not possible. She would be lamenting, in spite of the fact that Ashwatthama has committed such great sins. A mother would always feel that, oh, there was a way in which he could have been spared, maybe he could have reformed. There will be such thoughts and they would never recover from that. So Arjuna was very much aggrieved, or very much thinking about the potential loss of peace to Dronacharya's wife, and therefore he did not want to kill. And then Prabhupada says that Lord Shri Krishna encouraged Arjuna outwardly just to test Arjuna's sense of duty. So this is a very key point here, key word here. It is encouraged Arjuna outwardly. And just keep this point in mind. It is not that Arjuna was incomplete in his sense of duty, and nor was it that Lord Krishna was unaware of it. So Arjuna is a pure devotee, we all know that. And the Lord, as part of Krishna Leela, as his pastimes, he is creating this situation to reduce the burden of earth. And in this enactment of his wonderful transcendental pastimes, there are various actors that he enlists in this endeavor, and the Pandavas are one of them. Arjuna is the chief among them, as his closest friend and dear devotee. So Krishna knew very well that Arjuna is a pure devotee and perfect in his sense of duty. But still, Arjuna is outwardly testing, Lord Krishna is outwardly testing Arjuna. And then he says, Prabhupada says, that Lord Krishna put to test many of his pure devotees just to magnify the sense of duty. What does it mean, magnify the sense of duty? It means that the sense of duty that his pure devotees have, that how great it is, it often remains hidden. Because pure devotees don't advertise often the reasons why they do things, because not everybody can understand it. Not everybody needs to understand it. Pure devotee is always serving the Supreme Lord, and their goal is to satisfy their spiritual master and the Lord, Guru and Krishna. So, because they are striving to please Guru and Krishna, their mysterious activities often remain hidden to the general public. And the general public is unable to appreciate the greatness of these pure devotees. But Krishna relishes these greatness. He just relishes. And he wants everybody to see the wonderful transcendental qualities of his devotees. And therefore, he enacts these pastimes just to highlight the greatness of his devotees. So, in doing so, he puts them to test. Not because he doubts them, but because he wants to show to everybody just how great he is. Don't think you're equal to this person. Somebody may think, after all, Arjuna was a warrior. Yes, if I also practice bow and arrow, I can also go and shoot all these great warriors. Somebody may say, okay, yes, Bhishma was no doubt great, and Dronacharya was a great archer. But just as Bhishma and Drona were great, similarly somebody can be greater. And Arjuna was greater, and therefore he fought. They all fought. Two people fought. Today also there are so many boxing matches, wrestling matches, and various other matches that happen in Olympics and other sports. And somebody is a winner one year, next year they'll get defeated, somebody else becomes winner. So the valor or the physical prowess of a warrior, that is not the point of showing that Pandavas won the war of Mahabharata. That is not the point. Krishna wants to showcase the greatness of the individuals, and of course in Mahabharata it is explained, it is because of Krishna that the war was won, because of which the Arjunas were empowered at the time. And later on it was also proven when Arjuna could not defend the wives of Krishna from ordinary cowherd men who were trying to kidnap them. So, and then Prabhupada gives two examples, Gopis and Prahalad Maharaj. Can you think of what were the tests that Gopis were put to? Somebody else? Madhav is answering too many questions. Yes, Prabhu. Mataji, please take the mic.
Is it to give the dust of their feet?
Yes, that was a great test. Because when Krishna, when Narada Muni went and asked for the dust from the feet to apply on Krishna's forehead, Krishna was having a headache, and it was told that only the dust from the feet of a devotee can cure Krishna's headache. And immediately all the Brahmanas and many other people, they said, no, we cannot give our feet, it's a great sin. Because Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, they knew that. And they refused to give their dust from their feet, because they were worried about the sinful reactions that might have. It is like keeping your feet on the deity's head. Can you imagine? You just we even remove our shoes. There's no question of keeping our feet on the head of the deity. And here we are talking about keeping the feet on Krishna's head directly. Will anybody do it? But gopis were willing to do it. Gopis said, no problem. Even if I have to be in hellish condition for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime for this offense, it is of no consequence. I just want Krishna's headache to be cured. There were many other tests. Simply the absence of Krishna. Krishna was so deeply attached to the gopis, and he simply disappeared one day. He would just went away once he went to Mathura. After he went to Mathura, he never came back, right? He did not come back to Vrindavan. And after that, much later, they met once briefly. The gopis had a glimpse of Krishna in Kurukshetra, but he never came back. So by his absence, he tested their pure devotion. The amount of separation that they had to endure, and the fact that they had abandoned all their family connections to surrender to Krishna. And yet Krishna simply disappeared by abandoning them. But actually he never abandoned them. He was always with them in their hearts, in their memories. But in physically he was absent. And this was the greatest test. And by their behavior, exemplary behavior, they showed. And when Uddhava came much later to Vrindavana and he met the gopis, he realized how great they were and how great their devotion to Krishna was. What about Prahalad Maharaj? Yes, please take the mic.
Well, his father repeatedly tried to kill him, and again he tried to preach to his father about how he should surrender to Lord Vishnu.
Yes.
And then Hiranyakashipu kept getting angry and trying to kill him in different ways.
Yes, so each of those attempts at hurt, physical harm, he did not get afraid. So he was just a small boy, 5-year-old boy, and his father was the ruler of practically all the planetary systems at that point. He had defeated all the devatas, and Prahalad Maharaj was just a small boy. And yet he was not disturbed by the mighty power of his father's army, but he kept executing his devotional service. But beyond all of this, when Hiranyakashipu was actually killed by Lord Narasimhadev, Lord Narasimhadev sat on the throne, and nobody was, nobody had the courage to go near Narasimhadev, fearful, and everybody was afraid. So at that time, excuse me, Prahalad Maharaj approached Narasimhadev and pacified him with beautiful prayers. And at the time, Narasimhadev, and in his prayers, he says that I am not interested in any liberation or going back, because Narasimhadev offered that, all right, you come back with me. Now your work here is over. You have done such a great, wonderful devotional service. Now for nothing here, why don't you just come back? I am going back. I'll drop you in my house. You can climb with me in my car. Like that he said. So what did Prahalad Maharaj said? He said, what did he say? Anybody knows? His reply. Mike, please.
He was not interested on his own liberation. He had that compassion about others, whoever are rotting here in this material world.
And what else? Mike, please.
He asked Narasimhadev to liberate his father also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not the point of the story, but yeah, he did. What else?
And is all. Okay.
So actually, first thing he said is that I am not at all afraid of this material world. Vaitarayanas, that is the keyword that is used. I am not at all afraid of this material world because I am always magdha chittaha. I am always engrossed in chanting your holy names, in remembering your glorious pastimes. Because Prahalad Maharaj was so engrossed in Krishna, and we have seen that absorption equals happiness, right? There was a workshop that was done here, specifically on the importance, how does the mind become happy? What is the state of happiness? Absorption leads to happiness, internal absorption. The longer that you're absorbed, that much you're happy. So Prahlad Maharaj was at a state where, although he was surrounded in the material atmosphere, but he was constantly absorbed in the thoughts of Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, and therefore he was never disturbed. He says, as far as I'm concerned, this is spiritual world only, because I'm always absorbed in your thoughts. But I'm seeing that there are so many, I'm not interested in simply going to a forest and meditating alone. When I go back home, back to Godhead, I want to take everybody with me, because I don't want to leave anybody behind. As far as I'm concerned, my service is to my spiritual master. Who was his spiritual master? Narada Muni. So Prahlad Maharaj said that I am fixed in the service of your pure devotee. See, Prahlad Maharaj himself is pure devotee, but he doesn't say that. He says, your pure devotee Narada Muni. He is my spiritual master. That is my service. That is the test. Real test of Prahlad Maharaj was that even when all the aggression was gone, Hiranyakashipu is gone, you may think that his service here is over. Maybe somebody may think, okay, maybe I was born only so that this Hiranyakashipu may be killed. So my work is over. Krishna is calling me. Let me go back. That was his real test. He said, no. My position is in the lotus feet of my spiritual master, Narada Muni. I will be serving him, and for me, I am happy here. By your grace, here also, it's just like spiritual world. So that was the test. Like that, so many others were tested. Parikshit Maharaj himself was tested. That's why he's called Parikshit. What is the test of Parikshit Maharaj? Not the one when he was in the womb, when he came out. What was the test that Parikshit Maharaj was put to? Anybody, Prabhu? You are only. Yeah. Sridhar Prabhu. Take the mic, please.
Is it whether he finds Krishna again? Is it
No, that is different. That is why he is called Parikshit. I think I confused you all by saying that he is called Parikshit because he tested. There's nothing to do with that.
Yeah, at the end of his, towards the end of his life, what did he do before?
What did he do? Yeah, what is the test?
Listen to Bhagavatam. Fully engrossed.
Yes, but before that, yes, Aryan.
He was cursed that he'll die in 7 days. So the whole 7 days and 7 nights he sat there and listened.
The crucial point, Aryan, what you mentioned, he was cursed and how he reacted to that curse. Right? So Parikshit Maharaj was such well-behaved, such a gentleman as a Vaishnava. He had all the good qualities of Vaishnava. And yet, circumstances were created in such a way that he became very thirsty one day when he went for hunting. And out of his thirst, when he went to an ashram and there was a sage who was meditating, he did not respond to Parikshit Maharaj's request for water, or he did not acknowledge his presence and continued to be engrossed in his samadhi, in his meditation. Parikshit Maharaj, who was otherwise very, very gentlemanly behavior, Vaishnava qualities, he got angry and put a dead snake around that sage's neck. So it was very uncharacteristic of a devotee to behave like this. And somehow he was overcome by the force of time, by the arrangement of the Lord, to behave like that. And then he went home to his palace. And then later he came to know that the son of that sage, what is the name of the son of that sage? Shringi. Shringi, that boy, had cursed him. He had become cursed. Actually, even before that news reached him, he was deeply repentant for his activities. Deeply repentant. To the extent that he was about to give up his life. He felt that now I do not deserve to live anymore. He was so repentant. And when he realized that this son of a Brahmana has cursed him, what was his reaction? This was actually the greatest test that Parikshit Maharaj faced, because as a king of the entire planet Earth, at the time, there was no part of planet Earth which was not under his control. He could have very easily counteracted the Brahmana's curse, not just by his military power, but simply by him being a devotee. Because the curse of a Brahmana does not actually impact a devotee. We have seen that in the example of Garuda Deva. When Saubhari Muni tried to curse Garuda Deva, nothing happened to Garuda Deva, but Saubhari Muni fell down because he saw the fish engaging in sexual activity inside the water, and he became disturbed when Saubhari Muni was meditating. So once Saubhari Muni went into the water to meditate for many years, and he was deep engaged. But what happened was, prior to that, he had cursed Garuda Deva, because Garuda Deva, at that time only, when he was in the meditation, he saw that Garuda Deva was trying to catch a fish there, and he became perturbed that these fish are under my protection because I am meditating in this water. And he became angry at Garudadeva and cursed him. Nothing happened to Garudadeva. But Shaubhari Muni fell down by looking at, by observing two fishes having sexual activity. He became agitated, and then he got out of meditation and went out. So when a ordinary person, even though he may be exalted with mystic powers, but when he tries to curse a Vaishnava, Vaishnava never gets impacted. In our ordinary dealings also, when we try to commit mental offenses against a devotee, the devotee is not impacted. It is we who are impacted. One must be extremely careful to offend a Vaishnava, because it doesn't impact them, it impacts us. So when this son of a Brahmana cursed Parikshit Maharaj, he could have just simply refused to take that curse and nothing would have happened to him. But he accepted it. He accepted that with great humility and completely gave up his kingdom and his family and took up ordinary robes of a mendicant and went and sat near the banks of Ganges. So like this, many pure devotees have been put to test, and in that test, the wonderful qualities have come out. We'll talk about those qualities, but I just want, because I mentioned the special importance of the word outwardly, Lord Krishna encouraged Arjuna outwardly just to test Arjuna's sense of duty. So what is the significance of this? See, Krishna is present outside, personally in front of Arjuna. Krishna is also present inside Arjuna as Paramatma, right? So look at his Leela. Outside, in the outward role as Krishna, he's telling, kill Ashwatthama. But inside, as a Paramatma form, he's telling Arjuna, don't kill Ashwatthama. Don't kill Ashwatthama. That's what he's saying. How do we know this? Because we know that a pure devotee is always fully surrendered to the Lord. Correct? Rishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. And why that word Hrishikesha? Because Hrishikesha means master of senses. And we know that we have got how many senses? 6 senses, which includes the mind. 6 senses includes the mind, and otherwise there are 5 senses, but 6th sense is the mind. And who is the master of the senses? Rishikesha. And a person who completely surrendered to Rishikesha, Rishikesha is in charge of the senses. So Krishna, as a master of Arjuna's mind, is already dictating Arjuna what to do from inside, from within, inwardly. But outwardly, he is saying, don't kill. Just see the beauty of the situation. And this is the wonderful transcendental pastime of the Lord, that by the grace of Prabhupada, just by that one word, he is highlighting this apparent, beautiful situation. So pure devotees are always guided by the Lord. Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hriddi sannivishto mattah smritir apohanam cha vedeshcha sarvair. No, before that. Ahameva vedyo vedantakrit vedavit chaham. So mattah smritir apohanam cha. Mattah, from me, comes remembrance and forgetfulness. So actually the remembrance of one's duties, they are coming from Krishna. And forgetfulness of one's duties are also coming from Krishna. So why is it that sometimes we are forgetful of our duties and Arjuna is so wonderfully remembering his duties so perfectly? This ability to perfectly execute one's duty, this is one of Vaishnava qualities. One of Vaishnava qualities. It is called expertise or daksha. So all these Vaishnava qualities, if we want to inculcate within ourselves, what is the process for that? It is said in Bhagavatam, Yasyasti bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunays tatra samasate sura harau abhaktasya kuto mahad gunan. I'm sorry, it's not formatted well. Manorathe nasti dhavato bahihi. Let me just correct it so you're able to read it and follow me. Sir, Yasyasi bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunays tatra samasate suraha harau abhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathe nasti dhavato bahihi. yasya asti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana. One who's undeviated, without any other contamination, without anything else. Kinchana means something, akinchana means without anything. So without that something. So Bhagavati akinchana, when a person is engaged in akinchana bhakti of the Supreme Lord, Bhagavati, then what happens? Sarvair gunais tatra samasate suraha. Suraha means devatas. So all the gunais, the sarvair gunair, all the good qualities, not just some, not just one, but all, sarvair, all the good qualities of the devatas, samasate tatra. Samasate is, it manifests, it accumulates, aggregates. So all the good qualities of the devatas, they accumulate within the person who has got akinchana bhakti towards the Supreme Lord. And in contrast to that, harau abhaktasya kuto mahadguna. When somebody is not a devotee of the Supreme Lord, Hari, where will be his great qualities? Where are his great qualities? He cannot have great qualities. Why? Because manorathena asti dhavato bahihi, outward. So outward manorathena asti, all the mental, because of his mental speculations, he is looking for external objects of sense enjoyment. His activities are fixed in the outside, not in the inside. Because the Supreme Lord is present inside us, instead of being fixed inwardly on the Supreme Lord, he is fixed on the outward, external material world. For such a person, kuto mahadguna, there cannot be any good qualities. So the translation is, all the demigods and their exalted qualities such as religion, knowledge and renunciation become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities, even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives. He must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? So if somebody is spending his life in his honest endeavor, not that he is stealing money or anything like that, honestly, he's just taking care of his family, doing his duty as per the social norms, taking care of his wife, taking care of his children, taking care of his parents. Such a person, even if he has got the greatest siddhis of mystic yoga, he is useless. Useless. Completely devoid of any quality. Because he is not a devotee of the Lord. Harau abhaktasya kuto mahadgunan. Just see the power of the statement. Because we spend our life thinking that if I perform my family duties, that is the perfection of life. But that is not the perfection of life. Rather, it is complete imperfection of life. It is the exact opposite. Haritoshanam. What is the verse that says the purpose of dharma is haritoshanam? So unless your path of religion takes you towards increasing your love for Krishna, towards satisfying the Lord, that is simply srama eva hi kevalam. This is useless labor. There is no good qualities that can come out of it. But whereas if a person is a devotee of the Lord, then even if he is imperfect in his other activities, he will actually have all the qualities of an expert, or all the qualities of a perfect person, because the good qualities automatically develop. So what are these good qualities? In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a mention of some of these good qualities. There are 26 good qualities that are mentioned. Also in Bhagavad Gita, in 16th chapter, there are some good qualities mentioned there. And I would encourage you to look at those good qualities. And let us take a look at these other good qualities that are mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Here are the 26 qualities of a devotee. He is very kind to everyone. So devotee is always compassionate. He does not make anyone his enemy. He is truthful. He is equal to everyone. What is the verse for that? Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini shunicheva swapakecha pandita samadarshinaha. He is equal to everyone. No one can find any fault in him. No one can find fault. Because he executes his duties perfectly, nobody can find fault. He doesn't act in a way that others can criticize him. Sometimes we say, no, you are a devotee, you should not be critical. But a devotee such that he doesn't act in a way that others can find opportunities to criticize him. Both are true. As a devotee, we should never criticize others because it only affects us. But one should also be conscious that one should not act in a way that invites criticism. These both are true. So when it applies to us, we should look at what we should be doing. What should we do? Two things. We should act in a way that does not draw criticism. Number two, we should not criticize others. So we should not be telling, hey, you are not acting in a way that does not invite my criticism. Why are you inviting my criticism? You should not act like this. Because of you only I am being forced to criticize. See, you are making me fall down. So this is not correct. Others have their own spiritual journey. We have got our own journey. In our journey, we should not criticize others regardless of what they do. But in our journey, we should not act in such a way that invites criticism from others. He is magnanimous, which means he is quick, easy to forgive. Magnanimous means he doesn't hold back. Whatever he has got, it is easily distributes it to everybody else. Doesn't say that, oh, this service has been given to me, I won't share with others. Immediately he'll share. And he'll share the credit also with everybody. Whatever credit comes, credit goes to the spiritual master. But he'll be quick to give credit to other devotees. He is mild, not very forceful. He's not the Vegas, Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam. Those Vegas are absent in a devotee. As you advance in devotional service, those Vegas of Krodha Vega, Vacho Vega, Udara Upasya Vega, all those Vegas start to go down. And what happens when they go down? A person becomes mild-mannered, which means he doesn't try to insist on a particular way of doing things. In our service, oftentimes we are called upon to do service in a group of devotees. We all have to get some 3-4 people have to get together and do something. Invariably, somebody will have one opinion, somebody else will have some other opinion. And it is very possible that you may be very strongly opinionated that I know that this other way will lead to a problem and my way probably is a better way. But in such a situation, a devotee is mild-mannered, which means one can state one's opinion but not put very force, not put a great amount of force in that and let whatever happen, happen. He is always clean. So cleanliness has got two parts, external cleanliness and internal cleanliness. External cleanliness comes by taking a bath, washing hands, etc. How does internal cleanliness come? That is a separate characteristic. Humility is a separate characteristic. Internal cleanliness, how does it come? Yes, Prabhu had something to say. Chanting Hare Krishna. Yes, because Cheto Darpana Marjanam, internal cleanliness comes. But more directly, there is a specific activity which leads to, how do you see, Cheto Darpana Marjanam means removing the dirt. But what if you are removing the dirt and at the same time adding more dirt? It will take a long time to clean, right? In one hand, you've got this swab, you're cleaning. With the other hand, you're taking dirt and constantly putting. I don't know how to do this both together. Both hands will go like this. You take the dirt and this hand you hand. Yes, you can all try later on. So it's not going to be very effective. So what is this activity of putting the dirt? And the other activity is cleaning, correct? So cleaning is Cheto Darpana Marjanam by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But at the same time, we are putting dirt. What is the dirt? Actually, there are 4 pillars of dharma, correct? What are the 4 pillars? Truthfulness, cleanliness, and then compassion and austerity. So cleanliness comes how? How is cleanliness destroyed? Avoiding illicit sex. So a devotee is always clean, externally clean, means externally he is clean, taking bath and washing hands, etc., hygiene. Internally clean. Internally clean, we know how somebody can become clean. That is Cheto Darpana Marjanam, always chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, simply thinking of Krishna. Yat smaret pundarikaksham swa bahya abhyantara suchihi. So bahir and abhyantara is antara, inside. So both external and internal cleanliness can be achieved simply by yat smaret pundarikaksham. Simply by remembering Krishna, one becomes clean. But immediately after becoming clean, we are putting more dirt. That is illicit sex. So by strictly, without any compromise, avoiding illicit sex means sex can be only had for the purpose of having children, not beyond that. The moment a person engages in sexual activity for a purpose other than having children, that is, cleanliness is gone. So if somebody does that, and on the other hand does chanting, it is not going to be of any use. He is without possessions. What does it mean? Because Prabhupada he used to write checks. He had all this big bank account. It means he doesn't claim to be proprietor of anything. He acts like the teller of a bank. In a bank, what happens? Somebody one day will deposit millions of dollars. Another day, somebody will withdraw millions of dollars. Is the teller or the bank officials, are they sad about it? Will they become very happy if some money comes deposited? Teller doesn't bother, right? His money is to dispense the cash, and his money is to take the deposit. It is not his, belongs to the bank. Similarly, a devotee, whatever possession has been given to him by Krishna, he considers it to be property of Krishna, to be used in the service of Krishna, does not claim to be his possession. What is that verse? Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchyate. Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandhe means he does not reject anything, because he sees everything in relation to Krishna. Whether it is my position or your position or whatever, whoever's our position it is, to him it is the same. He sees all the objects around, all the facilities that are being given around as means to serve the mission of the Supreme Lord. He works for everyone's benefit. He is very peaceful. So how do we work for everyone's benefit as devotees? Or how we should strive to work for everyone's benefit? By to give the Krishna Nama. Because that is the highest philanthropic activity, is to give Krishna consciousness to everybody. That is the highest benefit. He is very peaceful, not disturbed. He is always surrendered to Krishna. He has no material desires. He is very meek, steady, controlled in his senses, does not eat more than required, very difficult. He is not influenced by the Lord's illusory energy. He offers respect to everyone, does not desire any respect for himself. Very grave, merciful, friendly, poetic, expert. So this is the expertise, this quality is being evidenced, is being shown in this today's verse. This expertise, how to develop the expertise? Because Prabhupada said that devotees must be acting in an expert manner in all affairs, in running the temple affairs, in taking care of, not just taking care of the deity, but in everything, that whatever we take from one place, we have to put it back in that place. If there is a shoe stand, shoes must be kept in the shoe stand so that it remains clean. Shoes cannot be left just outside like that. If there is a door to the temple, the door must be locked. You cannot say that, oh, Krishna can defend himself. Why I should defend Krishna? Krishna is the protector of this whole universe. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Let it be open. That is not what Prabhupada taught us to do. He said, be very careful about every small thing. Not a farthing should be wasted. Nothing should be wasted. Not a cent, not a dollar. Everything should be fully utilized. Don't waste anything. So this expertise, one may say that, okay, Prabhu has assigned me some service, and but unfortunately I'm not expert in this. So what can I do? I will just do it half-heartedly because I know I'm not expert. I've been given this. Of course, there has to be an extent of trust and faith in one's superior authority. But I know that in heart of our hearts, we all have a desire that the services that come to us, that we have an inclination in, that we somehow become more expert in that. If somebody is being given particular service, let us say decorating this temple, then that person will surely have a desire in his heart that, oh, I wish I could decorate better. Somehow I feel I'm not doing justice to this. There will be such a feeling will be there. And then somebody is given cooking service. They will feel, oh, I wish I could become a better cook so that I can serve Nitai Gauranga more wonderfully. Somebody is given kirtan service. They will think, oh, I wish I could become a better kirtaniya. Somebody is given preaching to college. They will think, oh, I wish I could be more effective in my preaching techniques. I wish I could spend more time. All these thoughts are there. But how to advance? How does one advance in this? The secret of advancement is in the previous verse that we just read. Yasyasti bhakti bhagavati akinchana. Actually, these qualities are not to be developed artificially by our own endeavor. Qualities manifest. The qualities manifest because of bhagavati akinchana. Now the trick is, what constitutes bhagavati akinchana? Bhagavati akinchana, which means bhaktir akinchana bhakti towards Bhagavan, it is a multifaceted activity. That is why Prabhupada translates bhakti yoga to devotional service. The service in that, in an akinchana mood, without having any other intention, anya bhilashita shunyam, when we render bhakti, a devotional service, without other personal motivations, that constitutes akinchana bhakti. The extent to which we are able to serve the Lord, engage our time and attention in serving the Lord without any other motivation, to that extent sarvair gunair samasate suraha. That will automatically manifest. So it doesn't mean that we shouldn't endeavor to gain expertise, but that activity of gaining expertise should be done as akinchana bhakti. That is the crucial point. That akinchana bhakti constitutes sincere service. Sincere service means simply desiring to do a service to please Prabhupada and Krishna. That constitutes sincere service, and by doing that, expertise automatically comes. But the same service if somebody does, let us say somebody says, oh, I have been doing this for 5 years, I have been doing this service. Automatically, I should become expert. But you will see that maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe some expertise comes, but it doesn't really come to the extent it would have come that somebody with 6 months can become a bigger expert. Why the difference is there? The difference is because the personal motivation is different. And because personal motivation, the motivation is to please the Lord versus to gain the mana or the respect or honor from others. If sometimes we do things and we become a little bit proud of that, not just doing it, but also got the opportunity to do it. Sometimes we have seen that in various temples around India, there are various generations of families that have a responsibility to do some particular service. And sometimes the family members can become proud that, oh, we always do this on Tuesdays here. We have been given the rights. Adhikar has been given to us. And they become proud. So it's very easy to become proud of the service opportunity that has been given. Then to actually do the service, immediately we become proud. We want to show off to our friends and family members, see how well I have done this. So these are always there. These are the anarthas that are there in the heart. To the extent to which we are able to overcome these anarthas and consciously recognize and stop that and say that, no, I'm not doing, what am I doing here? I have not come here to do service to show off to my family and friends. I have come here to please Prabhupada. I have come here doing this duty to satisfy the superior authority who has given me this service. That's all the goal is. The moment we do that activity in that mood, it becomes a Kinchana Bhakti activity. Now, are we able to do that all day with every activity that we do? Are we able to cook to please Krishna, or we are thinking of cooking to please ourselves? Are we doing work to please Krishna, or are we doing work to please our boss? So like this, we have to think and deliberate the extent to which we are able to dovetail our activities in the service of the Lord, Guru and Krishna. To that extent, it is considered Akinchana Bhakti, and expertise develops based on that. This expertise may be even what you may consider as material expertise. Somebody is a programmer. How he becomes suddenly expert programmer? You have seen a lot of people. Of course, they have prarabdha karma. Some people have got the inborn talent. But even a person without the talent can become a talent if the person dovetails his activity as a service to the Lord. Service must always be ordered, not taken up whimsically. So if somebody takes up whimsical service, what has happened in case of Ashwatthama? Right, we saw that in the last verse, that he has whimsically taken up service from his master, Duryodhana. It was not approved. Duryodhana never ordered him to go and kill those sleeping sons of Draupadi. But he took it up upon himself. And now if somebody does a whimsical service like that, and then thinks, I am doing this for Prabhupada, or then 6 months later think, why I am not becoming expert? Because the Prabhupada never asked you to do that. So it is very important that in our life, the important decisions we make, the big projects that we take up, it could be any kind of a project, maybe related to our house or anything, a decision to move to another house, decision to remodel our house, decision to take up a summer project, any of those kind of projects that we take up, it should be done with consultation of the superior authority, done with the acceptance and permission of the authority. Because only if you get the permission to do a service, then only if you do that with the intention to please Prabhupada, it will be successful. If you are deliberately doing something which authority has not even asked you to do, which will invariably conflict with something that he has asked you to do, then how is it possible? What is the meaning of saying that I'm doing this to please Prabhupada? It won't even happen. So these are the considerations behind developing expertise and qualities of Vaishnava. And Arjuna is displaying all these qualities in full here because he is a exemplary pure devotee who was in the position of Akinchana Bhakti. So that is how these qualities are manifesting in him. These are the points which have been given by Srila Prabhupada in a lecture that he has given on this particular verse. So I'll stop here and see if you have any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
So, like, what if
Oh,
there
you are
is-
speaking. I was wondering where is his voice coming from. It's coming from behind me. I thought yes.
So, like, what if there is like there is a person who is like at the top right now, and there is like no one superior to him. But of course, Krishna is superior. But in this, like physically,
One must approach a higher authority for a child. When the parents are devotees, the parents are the higher authority, as long as they are under the guidance, under the care of their parents. When the child is old enough to be on their own, then they should approach a devotee, and they should take guidance from a devotee who's in a temple. So Prabhupada has established all these temples specifically for that purpose, so that there are individuals in the temples, missionaries, who have dedicated their life in service of Prabhupada's words. So those missionaries are actually in a position of giving advice and guidance. So they should be considered as higher authorities until a time that a person is not independent, as in the and under the care and protection of the parents, especially when the parents are devotees. Parents are the higher authority. So you may have a situation where the children are growing up, but the parents are not higher authority. I mean, parents are not devotees, right? Parents are not devotees. They are still higher authority. They always remain higher authority, but they are not devotees. In such a case, if the person in his childhood is very fortunate, he may still come in touch with the devotee, like we have got the programs like the folk program or the ICVK program. So through these programs, even children who are not from devotee families have opportunity to come in touch with devotee. Those devotional principles, they go deep inside the psyche of that person. Although they may have limited freedom in following through on that, because they are still under the care of their parents who tell them what to do, and they must obey the parents at the time. But when they become independent, those qualities, those values that were instilled by the devotees, they remain with them. And when the right time comes, they will approach a devotee and begin their devotional journey and continue that. Does that answer your question? Or there is other examples still?
Yeah, but like, what if there's a temple president and he has to take a very important decision? Who would he refer to?
He has superior authorities. Temple presidents are not in vacuum. There are above temple president, there is other higher devotees, more senior devotees. And then when a person is at a point where, by the way, a devotee considers himself to be the most humble and fallen. A temple president, he will take guidance from the council of Vaishnavas around him. So God brothers, they don't consider that I am the temple president, therefore I am superior most. Administratively, yes, he is superior most. But in his heart, he always considers himself humble, and he has no hesitation in consulting other God brothers. So who's a God brother? Who's also a disciple of Prabhupada. So if there is a spiritual master and there are various disciples under him, they are all God brothers. So therefore, Prabhupada, several times he took counsel from the God brothers that he respected. So you can say, right, what about Prabhupada? Of course, for him, he is guided by Krishna in his heart. He does not require any external guidance because he's a pure devotee. Pure devotees are always guided by Krishna in his heart. But still, they consider themselves to be fallen. And because they are so humble and they consider that, yes, Krishna is guiding me in the heart, but look at my contaminated state. I cannot understand what Krishna says, although they are pure devotees. They think like that. And in that state of humility, they approach their God brothers and they seek counsel. Any other questions?
I have one. So you said Arjuna is in.
That mic is not on, or it doesn't work.
Arjuna is in Akinchana Bhakti, right? So we know Arjuna is a great archer. So he attained that great skills through practice, like we know, like he did lot of practice. So while doing that practice, was he always like remembrance of Lord, like trying to learn or practice the archery while remembering the Lord that I'm doing this for devotion or like devotion to Lord, therefore he gained that expertise? Like I'm understanding that right?
Yes and no. Yes, he has always remembered the Lord, not just while doing archery, but while even playing with his friends, while eating, while sleeping. Pure devotee never forgets the Lord. Arjuna was a pure devotee, eternally liberated, Nitya Siddha. He is not a person who attained perfection by practicing archery. Although he practiced archery as a good student, even Krishna himself went to Shantipani Muni's ashram to learn. He learned 64 arts in 64 days to show that a person must approach a spiritual master. One should not declare oneself to be expert of all the arts. One must go and approach and learn. And what is the correct way to learn? By doing what the teacher is telling you to do. If the teacher teaches you for 1 hour, there is also a 1 hour self-study that you have. You must have that in your coursework, correct? There is credits that are there. They include self-study time also. So a good student will definitely practice. And Arjuna would always be thinking of Krishna, not just while practicing archery, but while doing everything else. But above all this, Arjuna was a pure devotee from eternally. And that's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita in the 4th chapter, that you and I have taken many births. I remember all of them, but you don't remember. You are always my friend. You have just forgotten it. So Arjuna is a born expert archer. It is not that he gained expertise through practice. So all this ability where he could look at the eye of the sparrow when he was practicing and he was able to shoot. How was he able to look at the eye of the sparrow where others were looking at the sparrow and the bird and the tree and you and me and all those answers that they gave? But Arjuna gave the correct answer. That is not just by practice. He had that expertise in him because Krishna wanted him to play that role in this particular Krishna Leela. In some other Leela, in some other lifetime, he may not have put Arjuna as a great archer. He would have been a great sage. Or he would have been something else. Expertise develops in us based on what Krishna wants us to have expertise, not in what we want to have expertise. That is why it is important to do the service that is given, and then the expertise will develop in that. If we do something that we want, Krishna doesn't want it, you will sharpen the pencil that you want to write with, not the pencil that you don't want to write with. Correct? So be the pencil that Krishna wants to write with. Then automatically expertise will come. We'll stop here. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jagat Guru Shila